And then if you want to go beyond financial things, then, you have to obviously have much more than a currency. And then, you also have to actually take scalability seriously, because non-financial applications, like, nobody's going to pay $5 a transaction for them. So the thing that always attracted me about Bitcoin is, these values of, decentralization, creating these open permissionless systems that anyone can participate in and that aren't just going to flop over and die if whoever created them gets bored, and that are resistant to whoever runs them breaking the rules and all of these things, right? And I think that pretty strongly that these principles are really valid and important to much more things than just money, right? Like Bitcoin is the blockchain for money, and Ethereum is built from the start as a general purpose blockchain, right? It's, there is Ether, the asset on Ethereum, but then you can also make, decentralized financial things, what we call DeFi today. You can make ENS, the decentralized domain name system. You can make prediction markets on it. You can make totally non-financial systems that just keep track of whether or not some certificate was signed or whether or not some cryptographic key got revoked. There's this big long list of just interesting things that you could use about blockchains to do, right? Basically they are sort of the missing piece that where without them, the kinds of things that a decentralized computer network can do is very limited. And once you have them, a lot of those limitations end up going away. So Ethereum was always from the beginning about that, right? It's about hey, this isn't just money. There's so much more that you could do if you could just go ahead and make any infrastructure or digital institution or DAO or whatever you want to call it, where the kind of the base layer of the logic is just executed in this open and transparent way where everyone can see what's going on. Or, if you like your zero knowledge proofs, at least everyone can see proofs that prove to you that what's going on follows the rules. And you don't need to just constantly keep trusting centralized actors. I do think that, there's a lot more that wrong with the world than just money, right? I'm not one of these people who thinks that, if you get rid of fiat currency and you replace it with cryptocurrency, then suddenly wars are going to go away, right? Because first of all, seigniorage revenue is only a small portion of government revenue, right? It's 5-10%, something like that. Second of all, if you are the sort of, this is one of the things I don't even get about their philosophy. Let's say you're the sort of person who is an extreme and very distrusting libertarian, and you think that these governments are terrible, right? We know today that governments fund a combination of things like welfare and things like, the military that, goes and bombs people in Afghanistan, right? And so the question you have to ask is okay, you, with your new, magic newfangled cyber currency that takes over the world, take away the government's ability to have seigniorage revenue, and so you reduce the government's revenue by 10%. If the government is that evil, which portion of its expenses is it going to take that 10% from? Is it going to stop the bombing people in Afghanistan, or is it going to cut welfare? If you think it's the first, you have a very optimistic view of the government, right?
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, my perspective on why the whole we're going to save the world and create peace by denying governments the right to stealth taxation kind of perspective doesn't really make much sense for me. I do think that there is real value that comes from a decentralized and open currency, just the fact that there is a financial infrastructure that anyone in the world can, go ahead and use, right? And that's something that can easily be a big boon for people, right? There's a lot of places where the currency is much less stable than the dollar, and these people they don't well, if they use Bitcoin, their only option is to get Bitcoins, right? Which are also pretty volatile. If they use Ethereum, then they can get Ether, but then they can also get stable coins, right? And you might think that oh, you're not being ideologically pure, now you're giving them stable coins which are mirroring dollars, and obviously dollars are going to collapse too. But the reality is that dollars are vastly more stable than the Venezuelan bolivar. So there are really meaningful and beneficial things that you can give to people by having a global and open financial system. But I think if you want to actually do that, like, you have to have much more than just a currency, right? And then if you want to go beyond financial things, then, you have to obviously have much more than a currency. And then, you also have to actually take scalability seriously, because non-financial applications, like, nobody's going to pay $5 a transaction for them.